very good morning to everyone and welcome to the inauguration ceremony of the two-day international conference on anti-human trafficking theory to practice. We welcome everyone present with us here today, both in person and in spirit. We also extend a very warm welcome to our well-wishers from the different corners of the world who are watching this ceremony through our live streaming. We have gathered here for a two-day conference to address a serious global issue, which is human trafficking. The United Nations defines human trafficking as a serious crime and a grave violation of human rights. Almost every country in the world is affected by trafficking, whether as a country of origin, transit, or destination for victims. Human trafficking has become a worldwide activity, and it is only in recent years that the general public is becoming aware of it. It is the third most profitable worldwide criminal enterprise after the illegal arms trade and drugs. The Kolkata Mary Ward Social Center, the KMWSC, and the Darjeeling Mary Ward Social Center, the DMWSC, are the Loreto Resource and Development Centers for Social Change. The vision of KMWSC and DMWSC is to ensure that the values of love, freedom, sincerity, and justice are experienced and lived out by all. To stop human trafficking, it is first essential to understand the true nature of the economic model behind human trafficking that we are seeking to disrupt. Who is making money and out of whom? Where are the leverage points? What is the nature of the demand? What kind of interventions are likely to work? Without clarity of purpose and clear time frames, effective action will not be possible. The fair and all-inclusive approach adopted by the KMWSC and the DMWSC brings the stakeholders and the community under one umbrella. This pattern is a key component which synchronizes with the tool to combat trafficking in persons. I would now like to request Sister Monica Suchiang, the Director of the Kolkata Maryward Social Center, for her words of welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Basu. I am a bit nervous, but first and foremost, I would like to thank God for this beautiful day and looking at this capacity of 270 people sitting in this room, and I'm really grateful to God. Thank you. On behalf of Sister Anita Maria Briganza, our province leader of Loreto, South Asia, and president of Darjeeling and Kolkata Maryward Social Center, and on behalf of the Loreto congregation all over the world, it is my privilege to welcome each and every one of you to this two-day conference on human trafficking. I feel gratified to see the hall filled with guests committed to challenge this ever-prevalent global problem. From its inception, the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, commonly known as Loreto, has been involved in this important mission of empowering girls and women to lead in homes or in public life. The Institute was founded by an English lady, Mary Ward, over 400 years ago. Later, in 1841, Sister Delphine Hart, with a small band of 12 sisters in their early 20s, landed at Babughat, Kolkata, to set up their first mission in Kolkata. Incidentally, Loreto is currently celebrating 175 years of our presence in India. The members of the Loreto Foundation, the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, an international and multicultural congregation of women religious, have pledged to work for the eradication of all forms of human trafficking and its causes. The decision was taken at the General Congregation held in Spain in September 2014. I quote, "We cannot overlook the fact that human trafficking exists in all places where the Loreto sisters are working. The members, associates, and co-workers of the congregation are adopting all possible means to eradicate human trafficking." End quote. The members, associates, adopting all possible means to eradicate human trafficking through education, advocacy, prevention, and prayer. And we are still learning and educating ourselves by raising awareness with the help of our collaborators in our work. Both the social centers are relentlessly striving to reach out to the vulnerable and be there for those who are unattended and living on the fringes of the society. The centers work closely with the women and child protection issues, providing education and protection to children who are vulnerable, training teachers for education and skill development. You, our honorable guests, have come here today from far and wide, and I am deeply humbled by your presence. Yes, There is an enormous wealth of knowledge and expertise assembled here this morning. Let's make the most use of it. The aim of this conference is to exchange ideas on how to strengthen the fight against human trafficking in our countries and how to help women, children, and men who are victims of this crime. No violence against women and children is justified. Violence and children can be prevented. According to ILO reports of 2014, over 4.5 million individuals worldwide are victims of forced commercial sexual exploitation. Human trafficking earns a profit of roughly $150 billion annually for traffickers, and $99 billion of that is from commercial sexual exploitation. How do we prevent it from happening day in and day out in every corner of the globe? That is why we are here today. We are here today not to remind each other of how bad the situation is, but to think of ways on how to eradicate violence against children and women. The Global Slavery Index of 2016 estimates that 45.8 million individuals are involved in some form of modern slavery. 18 million people are living in conditions of modern slavery in India. We are here for 2 days, but this is definitely not the end of our intervention and introduction. It is but a small beginning. The time is ripe to collectively share our knowledge. Let us rekindle our relationships and forge new alliances for the sake of the cause. Remember, renew, reimage is the motto of Loreto. Every girl child touched by Loreto has been empowered through education. We have embarked on this journey begun by Mary Ward, a founder. She had struggled during her days, and today we bear the fruits of her struggle. We remember her and render all her service in her name. With her in mind, we shape ourselves according to the need of the time in the 21st century and renewed ourselves with strength and vigor. We wake up with a new lease of life each day to a new evolved self we re-image. We continue on this journey begun by Mary Ward. Let's join hands and collaborate to carry her legacy forward with the empowerment of women and children. May God bless our endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Monica. We would now like to invite on stage Sister Anita Maria Braganza, the province leader of Loreto, South Asia, and president of KMWSC and DMWSC, Ms. Ananya Chakraborty, chairperson of the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and Mr. Samir Baptist from Justice and Care, to kindly join us on stage to welcome the invited dignitaries to the dais and join in the felicitation ceremony. I would first like to welcome on stage His Grace, Archbishop Thomas D'Souza, Archbishop of the Kolkata Archdiocese. And I would request Sister Anita Maria Braganza to felicitate His Grace. We regret the absence of Ms. Tuti Kakkar, the chairperson of the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. On behalf of Ms. Kakkar, the chairperson of the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, Mrs. Ananya Chakraborty will later during the program read out her message. I would now like to welcome on stage Mr. Bruce Bucknell, the British Deputy High Commissioner in Kolkata. Mr. Baptist of Justice and Care will felicitate Mr. Bruce Bucknell. I would like to welcome on stage Mr. B.M. Jamal Hussain, the Councillor, Deputy High Commission of the People's Republic of Bangladesh in Kolkata. And I would request Sister Anita Maria Braganza to felicitate Mr. B.M. Jamal Hussain. I would like to welcome on stage Mr. Gautam De, the Regional Director of the Rabindranath Tagore Center, ICCR, Kolkata. The Rabindranath Tagore Center is the venue partner for this two-day conference on anti-human trafficking. I will request Mr. Baptist to felicitate Mr. Gautam De. I would like to welcome on stage Sister Judith Nekasa, Sister Brenda Egan, and Sister Macarena Fernandez, the three general consultors of the IBVM. They are in the IBVM General Leadership Team currently in Rome. They represent the office of Sister Noella Koskaden, the General Superior. I would request Ms. Ananya Chakraborty to felicitate Sister Nekasa, Sister Egan, and Sister Fernandez. We would like to welcome Ms. Sandra Wowuruntu. She is a survivor of human trafficking and domestic violence. I will request Mr. Baptist to felicitate Ms. Sandra Wowuruntu. We welcome on stage Ms. Flavia Agnes, the keynote speaker of the inaugural ceremony and a women's rights lawyer. I would request Sister Anita Braganza to felicitate Ms. Flavia Agnes. I request Sister Leena Lakra, the Director of the Darjeeling Maribor Social Center, to felicitate Sister Anita Maria Braganza, the Province Leader of Loreto, South Asia, and the President of KMWSC and DMWSC. I request Sister Monica Suchiang, the Director of the KMWSC, to felicitate Mrs. Ananya Chakraborty. The rights of every man are diminished when the rights of one man are threatened. Human trafficking is unremittingly an underreported issue that affects at least 20.9 million people across the globe every year. This conference is a call for global unity to fight this battle. Our formal inauguration ceremony today is not by the traditional lighting of the lamp, but by an innovative ritual. A woman is a maker, a preserver, and the everlasting source of kindness. The honorable members of the dais will put together the parts of a jigsaw puzzle to unveil the mascot of the conference, to give it shape and infuse life in it. We will start the inauguration ceremony with prayers. I now invite our members on the dais to rise and solemnize this ceremony. And may I request His Grace, Archbishop Thomas D'Souza, to lead us in prayer.
Merciful and loving Creator, we have gathered together to hold in prayer those whom you cherish, but who are bound by the trauma of labor and sex trafficking. These children, women and men are hidden in plain sight among us, are clothed in fear-filled silence, and are victims of trauma, unable to break free. May we open our eyes and our hearts to these persons who are trafficked in our midst.
Those caught in the horror of trafficking are missing persons. Some have been missing for years. Some have been discovered in graves. Some have bodies that are diseased, mutilated, tortured. Some have spirits that are damaged psychologically. Many of these women and men are missing in multiple ways, but are in our midst.
May we all act with blessings rather than condemnation towards our sisters and brothers who are trafficked, and help to create a tomorrow of freedom and justice. May these persons who are trafficked feel included rather than excluded in societies worldwide.
May they experience renewing opportunities, hear a strong voice for justice, and witness courageous actions against trafficking.
For law enforcement and their wisdom to recognize situations of forced labor and sexual slavery, while working to protect its victims and punish its perpetrators. For the media, that they will make awareness raising of the problem of human trafficking a priority.
For social service providers, that God will grant them the strength and continued commitment to help survivors of human trafficking and support them on their path to wholeness. For perpetrators of slavery, that they repent of their evil ways.
For survivors of slavery, that God guide them to a path down which they might find holiness and peace. For all of us here, that we may be encouraged and support to lead people in building a culture that respects human dignity.
As the mascot is unveiled, I request Sister Anita Maria Braganza to say the concluding prayer.
God of freedom, beauty, and truth, we believe that your deepest desire, your most powerful energy, is that all creation might know abundant life. We raise our voices in anguished prayer for our sisters and brothers, women and girls, men and boys who are modern-day slaves. They are your beloved daughters and sons, exploited sexually or forced to work because of human violence and greed. May we be abundantly blessed with mercy and love for all, inspired by our Creator of mercy and love. Amen.
The mascot has been unveiled. She speaks to us. You can see the earth in me. I brace and nurture. I am the azure vault. The songbird spreads its flight of fantasy across my bosom. My fire purges and absorbs. I am life. I soothe, I cool, I flow. I am in you. I move. I am indomitable. I am the first cry, the first kiss. My faith and love in you empowers you. I seek you. She is the immortal figure present in all of us. We see her and we seek her. She is someone who has control over her mind, body, and soul. Someone who has the power to exercise the view she carries. Someone who dares to go after her dreams and doesn't let anything or anyone stop her. Someone who lives with passion, intention, and awareness every day. Someone who is responsible and accountable for her choices and actions. I would now like to request Sister Anita Maria Braganza, the Province Leader of Loreto South Asia and President of KMWSC and DMWSC, to come to the podium and announce officially the opening of the International Conference on Anti-Human Trafficking, Theory to Practice 2017.
It's my pleasure to officially inform you that this conference on anti-human trafficking for the next 2 days is officially opened.
Thank you, Sister Braganza. Over the last 3 years, the Kolkata Marigold Social Center has worked relentlessly in Canning 1 block and the Sundarbans region to create awareness about the undetected menace of human trafficking. The Best Practices Manual is an effort to record and acknowledge the positive actions undertaken by the social center in preventing and combating human trafficking. This manual will be an inspiration and model for all stakeholders to intensify their efforts in responding to human trafficking through collaboration and cooperation. It is hoped that this manual will highlight the kind of measures that has been undertaken by the organization to successfully implement the convention direction in their efforts. I would now like to welcome Ms. Maria Linas from Marigold International Spain on stage. She is the director of Marigold International Spain. Ms. Linas has spent her life with the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, first as a student, then as a member, and now as a worker. She is an activist, feminist, and holds a master's degree in gender and development. She will be felicitated by Ms. Nilanjana Sharma of the Kolkata Marigold Social Center. Marigold International Spain and the Kolkata Marigold Social Center have had a very long association, and we are grateful to them for their support in the anti-human trafficking program over the years. I would request Ms. Linas to share a few words with us.
Good morning. As a member of Marigold International Network, we in Spain are proud to share the work that our companions of Kolkata Marigold Social Center is doing in terms of eradicate trafficking. We learn about trafficking by them, by their professional and well done work. Monica and her team has been demonstrating for 3 years, that they are a team prepared to work in preventing trafficking, and that they are efficient since they obtain good results with the basic resources. We are united by the same purpose of protecting the rights of women and children in the world. So, of course, we will continue supporting their fabulous work. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Linas. We will now request all the dignitaries on the dais to come forward with Sister Monica Suchiang and Sister Lina Lakra for the book launch ceremony, the launch of the Best Practices Manual. The book is called Sensitization on Anti-Human Trafficking Project, Interventions in Canning 1 Block, South 24 Parganas, West Bengal. It is a documentation of the processes, learning, and good practices. We request everyone in the audience to collect the Best Practices Manual after the inauguration ceremony from the track registration counters. Before we proceed to the next segment, I would request Sister Lina Lakra and Sister Monica Suchiang to hand over a memento as a token of our appreciation to the members on the dais. Thank you, Sister Lakra and Sister Suchiang. A vast majority of our people are shackled by lack of opportunity, grinding poverty, illiteracy, or modern-day slavery. Loreto is dedicated to the service of these marginalized sisters and brothers, reaching out to them through their several projects and services in the state of West Bengal and neighboring states of Bihar, Jharkhand, and Odisha. Loreto seeks to empower them through education, creation of opportunity, support systems, and justice. May I now invite His Grace, Archbishop Thomas D'Souza, Archbishop of the Kolkata Archdiocese and member of the Commission for Education of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of India, to share his thoughts with us.
Dear Sister Anita Braganza, province leader of the Loreto Sisters, Sister Monica Suchiang, director of Kolkata Mary Ward Social Center, all dignitaries on the dais, and all guests and friends present in the audience, I consider it a privilege to be here this morning and to participate in the proceedings of this august gathering, very specially convened to reflect on what can be done regarding this crime that affects humanity, namely trafficking, human trafficking. Ever since the Loreto Sisters, the first group of 12, arrived in Kolkata on the 30th of December 1841, that was the beginning of a new and very important chapter, not only for the Loreto sisters, but through them to generations of women of Kolkata and around. They were convinced that education alone and a holistic education alone would empower women to fight against social evils and empower them to be contributors not only to common good, but very especially to families and welfare of women in general. Ever since 1841, all those who have passed through the portals of Loreto House and their other institutions in the city and elsewhere have borne witness to the fact that education has empowered all women who were molded by the Loreto sisters and the education system. Well, that was one dream come true, and has taken a number of years, as you know, 175, and what beautiful work has been done, for which we thank God, and we thank the Loreto sisters of that time and the present ones, and all those who have gone through these years carrying on that mission. A new dream has come to take notice of what is happening around, not to remain indifferent to a situation that calls attention of all, namely to do something about this crime about which we have been hearing ever since we arrived here, and we knew even before, namely human trafficking. Concentrating on trafficking of women, young girls, young boys, the Loreto sisters have ventured into realizing yet another dream, namely to free all those in the slavery of trafficking. The very fact that all of you have come here to contribute to the discussions, to share your insights, to give your suggestions, is already a great step forward. Coming together and being aware of what's happening, very especially regarding this great evil, is already the first step that has been taken. I want to congratulate Sister Anita, Sister Monica, and the entire team of Kolkata Mary Ward Social Service Center, as well as the Darjeeling Mary Ward Social Service Center, for having taken these initiatives in the area of combating this crime of trafficking. After coming together, after sharing, we all know that our sisters are not alone. And that itself is a sign of encouragement and support. When we see the number of NGOs and other groups working for the common cause, namely anti-trafficking, that need constant contact, that itself is a sign that people coming together for a common cause can achieve much. And that, I feel, is what is happening here today, coming to know that so many others are working together for the same cause and work together in the future to achieve better and greater results, is already a very good beginning and already an advancement. I want to thank God for the great initiative taken by our sisters, the Loreto sisters, in this regard, for all the achievement that they have experienced, very especially in the rural areas, as we have heard, in South 24 Parganas, and the services they would be rendering to so many others that are in need of a similar rescue, a similar service, we want to wish our sisters, I want to wish Kolkata Mary Ward Development Social Service Center, the Darjeeling Mary Ward Social Service Center, and all those who are engaged in this noble task of fighting against trafficking, God's abundant blessings and many successes in the years ahead. May God bless you all.
Thank you, Your Grace. The Regional Director of the Rabindranath Tagore Center, ICCR Kolkata, Mr. Gautam De, will be leaving now as he has a prior appointment. On behalf of the Kolkata Mary Ward Social Center and Darjeeling Mary Ward Social Center, I would once again like to thank you very much for being the venue partner for this two-day conference. Thank you, Mr. De. Sister Anita Maria Braganza is the province leader of Loreto, South Asia, and the president of the KMWSC and DMWSC. She has been a principal in different Loreto schools across the country. She holds a master's degree in psychology and counseling and is a profound musician. She loves interacting with children. May I invite Sister Anita Maria Braganza to address the gathering.
Before I start, I have to say I feel quite nervous being here because I'm just a teacher. And there are experts here in the field of trafficking and other social evils. We're doing so much. But it's really a privilege for me to be a part of this dream, a part of the efforts to alleviate human suffering, particularly that of women and children and boys as well. To Your Grace, Archbishop Thomas D'Souza of Kolkata, members of our leadership team from Rome, Sisters Brenda, Judith and Macarena, our friends and collaborators from the different embassies and consulates, guest speakers, and every person present in this auditorium. Thank you for accepting the invitation of KMWSC and their partners to take time to share knowledge and experience on a subject that concerns us all, because even if one human being is not allowed to live and flourish as a free person, as someone who is created in the image and likeness of God, we too are in bondage, as we are all connected in the amazing web of life. It is significant that today, the 25th of November, is the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women and the beginning of the annual 16 days of activism, which ends on 10th December, which is Human Rights Day. It seems appropriate then to draw your attention to a few statistics related to the concern that we are here to talk, share and discuss, as this concern is deeply connected with violence against women and girls. In all probability, you are aware of the numbers, so do bear with me if this is old, bad news for you. Globally, human trafficking is the second largest and fastest growing criminal industry in the world. This is as per the Polaris Project. 800,000 people, 80% women, are trafficked internationally every year. This is as per the 2014 US Trafficking in Person report. According to the 2015 State Department Trafficking in Persons report, there were only 10,051 prosecutions and 4,443 convictions for trafficking globally in 2014. And this is as per the 2014 US TIP report. 75% to 77% victims enter the sex trade through trafficking. This is a report supported by the Department of Women and Child Development, Government of India. Only 0.15%, that is 1 in every 700 victims, are ever identified. This is once again a US TIP report. Of the 8,132 such cases registered across the country last year, 3,576 were from West Bengal and 1,422 from Rajasthan. This is as per government officials. Rajasthan was followed by Gujarat, where 548 such cases were reported last year, and Maharashtra reported 517 cases. Given these statistics, it seems even more urgent and compelling that platforms are created to raise awareness as well as to act on this burning issue. In 2014, as Sister Monica also mentioned in her address, during the General Congregation meeting of the Loreto Sisters, 48 Loreto sisters representing their particular province from around the world, after much prayer and reflection on the current realities of the world, took a corporate stance on human trafficking, issuing a statement that reads, and I quote, "As members of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, Loreto, an international and multicultural congregation of women religious, we pledge to work for the eradication of all forms of human trafficking and its causes, particularly among women and children, wherever we live and minister." Unquote. Loreto sisters around the world and at the United Nations have been responding to this issue for many years. This international conference on anti-human trafficking has been organized by KMWSC to commemorate Loreto's presence and work in South Asia for the empowerment of women and children in particular for the last 175 years. Loreto is known for its role in promoting sound education, education that puts its students on their feet, encouraging them to make a difference wherever they are. While continuing in its contribution to formal education, particularly in promoting inclusive education for all, Loreto continues to remain open to where the need is greatest. One way in which this has been done, other than the work that you're seeing here, is by using the premises of 5 of our regular schools in Kolkata to house nearly 600 children from the streets, giving them education, a home, called the Rainbow Home, and a future. This model has now spread pan-India, and over 4,000 children benefiting from this pioneering work started by our Sister Cyril. By organizing this conference as part of Loreto's 175 years of service, empowering particularly women and children, Loreto in South Asia is involving itself in yet another area of grave concern for the world. It is now taking its role in advocacy a step further, drawing on the strength of networking and adding their voice to the many individuals, civil society, NGOs, and governments who work for this cause. We, Loreto sisters, remember our history with gratitude, joy, and humility, as 175 years is indeed a remarkable milestone in the life of any organization. We have often been encouraged to brand the name. We have resisted doing this because we believe this work is not about us. There is something more. Way back in 1625, while fervently commending her institute to God, it was made known to our founder, Mary Ward, that that prosperity, progress, and security of this institute did not depend upon wealth, dignity, and the favor of princes, but that all its members had free and open access to God, from whom proceed all strength, light, and protection. Our hope is in God alone, who called the Institute, the Loreto congregation, to being. And it is God we trust to carry it forward and keep it true. That's a quote from our Constitution 7.1. This is our belief, and this is what keeps us growing, going, serving, and responding to the needs of those on the margins of our society. May this conference then be a tribute to every single man, woman, and child who struggles to grow free and be free. To all of you gathered here and all those who work with you to make this a reality for the hundreds of thousands who long for dignity and a quality of life that is truly their birthright. It is our hope that this gathering is not just a one-off event, but a further impetus in dialoguing and networking, both locally and globally. May God bless us, bless this event. Thank you, one and all.
The hall is full, and there are many people waiting outside the auditorium because there is no space inside. May I request all people who are waiting outside to come in, and may I request the younger and fitter members of the audience to leave their seats for the older members, and you can sit on the aisles, you can use the seats specially reserved for ICCR, but please allow everyone to come in. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Sister Judith Nikasa is from the East Africa province of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary and currently a member of the IBBM General Leadership Team in Rome. She has been in the teaching ministry for over 19 years, teaching secondary schools in Kenya and Tanzania. She has been the youth animator and vocation promoter in the schools she has served. May we invite Sister Judith Nikasa to address the gathering. Sister Judith will be speaking on behalf of Sister Noela Koskaden, the General Superior of the Loreto congregation. Sister Judith Nikasa.
Your Grace, the Archbishop Thomas D'Souza, Sister Anita Brangaza, the Province Leader, South Asia Province, and President of both the Kolkata and Darjeeling Merward Social Center, Sister Monica Suchang, the Director of Kolkata Merward Social Center, and her wonderful team, invited guests, dignitaries present, all protocol observed. On behalf of Sister Noel Koskaden, the General Leader of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who is not able to be here today with us, but sends greetings and her blessings. I most sincerely welcome you all to this gathering today. Allow me to start by acknowledging the wonderful work being done by the Kolkata Mary Ward Social Center in trying to combat this epidemic called human trafficking. In doing this, they have taken a practical measure in responding to one of our 2014 General Chapter calls, as already said, that is to go where the need is greatest. You will all agree with me that fight against human trafficking is a crucial and worthwhile effort in our endeavor to restore the human dignity in society today. Your generosity in reaching out to a people exploited cannot therefore be underrated. So, thank you very much. Again, as one said, at our General Chapter of 2014, members of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary pledged to work for eradication of all forms of human trafficking and its causes, particularly among women and children wherever we live and minister. We sincerely are grateful to Kolkata Mary Ward Center for taking up this initiative on our behalf. Dear members, human trafficking is a trade of humans, most commonly done for the purpose of sexual slavery, forced or commercial sexual exploitation for the traffickers or for others. This is according to statistics from the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime. This encompasses providing a spouse in the context of forced marriage or extraction of organs or tissue, including surrogacy and ovule removal. Human trafficking has been found to occur within a country or transnationally. Human trafficking is a crime against the person because of the violation of the victim's rights of movement through coercion and because of their commercial exploitation. Human trafficking is a trade between people and does not necessarily involve the movement of the person from one place to another. Pope Francis, on the 12th of December 2013, while addressing a group of ambassadors on human trafficking, emphasized, and I quote, "It is a disgrace that persons are treated as objects, deceived, assaulted, often sold many times for different purposes, and in the end, killed, or in any case, physically and mentally damaged, ending up discarded and abandoned." End of quote. Many statistics have been given, and I would just like to mention maybe two. That statistics from the International Labour Organization reveal the following facts, of which most of us know: that forced labor alone, which is just one component of human trafficking, generates an estimated $150 billion in profits per annum, and this was as of 2014. And in 2012, it was estimated that 21 million victims are trapped in modern-day slavery. Of these, 14.2 million, that is 68%, were exploited for labor, and 4.5 million, that is 22%, were sexually exploited, and 2.2 million, which is equivalent to 10%, were exploited in state-imposed forced labor. Human trafficking is thought to be one of the most fastest-growing activities of transnational criminal organizations. Human trafficking is condemned as a violation of human rights by international conventions. Here in India, and we would like to appreciate the effort of the government that trafficking in persons for commercial sexual exploitation, forced labor, forced marriages, and domestic servitude is considered an organized crime. The government has tried, and the government of India applies the Criminal Law Amended Act of 2013, which became active on the 3rd of February the same year, and as well as some sections of 370 and 370A IPC, which defines human trafficking and provides stringent punishment for human trafficking. Additionally, a regional task force implements the SAC Convention on the Prevention of Trafficking in Women and Children. On the 5th March 2014, again, Pope Francis clearly and painfully puts it, I quote, "It is not possible to remain indifferent before the knowledge that human beings are being bought and sold like goods." Following this call from Pope Francis, in December 2014, for the first time in history, major leaders of many religions, Buddhists, Anglicans, Catholic, and Orthodox Christians, Hindu, Jewish, and Muslim, met to sign a shared commitment against modern-day slavery. The declaration they signed calls for a practical action for elimination of slavery and human trafficking by the year 2020. We must, however, remain vigilant to all these happenings around the globe, as they have potential to stir up threats and violence from many sources, including customers, the pimps, brothel owners, the madams, traffickers, and corrupt local law enforcement officials. Raids as a sex trafficking measure severely impact sex trafficked victims because of their complicated legal status, language barriers, the arrests of fear or stress, and other emotional trauma and violence from law enforcement during these raids. Besides, trafficked victims are exposed to different psychological stresses. They suffer social alienation in their host and home countries. Given the stigmatization, social exclusion, and intolerance that follow, reintegration into local communities has been made difficult. Sometimes it is a pity that most governments offer little assistance and social services to trafficked victims upon their return. As victims are also pushed into drug trafficking, many of them face criminal sanctions as well. Human trafficking is a reality that has to be confronted in all fronts, but above all, by the family. One is either infected or affected. It is for this purpose that we find time together in this conference, united in one purpose, and that is liberation of human person from modern slavery and restoration of their lost dignity. This is something which is at the heart of our mission, apostolate, and response to the gospel message, that is to be each other's keeper. We must unite our efforts. We need to call it by its name as a modern slavery by all means we can, in all sectors of our society, and our presence here today is in itself a testimony to the fact that we are committed to this cause as church agents. We are part of the human family, and so we too are not exempted from this reality, because it is right at our doors. Attentive to the spirit within, we will discover that we daily encounter in our pastoral outreach and discernment processes with others are people crying to be set free from where the world has trapped them in human body. Our conference is basically geared towards praying ardently for genuine transformation, that hearts may truly be touched, and that perpetrators of this inhuman act may begin to experience true conversion. We are called to be life givers. As one sage would say, if you are not part of the problem, then you should be part of the solution. We are here to put our heads together for a common and good cause. Let us not forget that human trafficking has no boundaries, and it is a global security threat affecting theological, economical, political, anthropological, and social spheres of life. It requires close collaboration, renewed spirit, and proper discernment approach in the greatest mission mandate as signs of the times demand in our precarious global environment of uncertainties. We need a voice that corresponds to our country's realities, shouting out for those in bondage across the valleys of darkness and death to hear us out so that they don't give up hope, that we don't become silenced or become indifferent in these issues, but play the leading role of advocating for the eradication of these inhuman acts against humanity. Finally, my prayer is that may we find the strength and energy in each other at this conference to sojourn on, for together we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Sister Judith Nekasa. I would once again like to appeal to all the younger members of the audience to kindly sit on the aisles, because there are still many people waiting outside and they are not coming in because there is no place to sit. I anchor here 2 to 3 times every week. We have never seen such a crowd here, and I think we are not competent to handle it, so may I request the members of Justice and Care to kindly handle this. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Ms. Tuti Kakkar is a 1978 batch IAS officer and the chairperson of the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. She retired as Secretary, Department of Disability Affairs, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India. She has also been the head of the Management Committee of CARA, the Central Adoption Resource Authority. Unfortunately, Ms. Kakkar is not present with us today, but she has sent her message, which will be shared with us by Ms. Ananya Chakraborty.
I was in Delhi yesterday where I met Ms. Kakkar, and she expressed a regret that she couldn't come because she's not well, but she sent a message which I'm reading out for you. I'm grateful for the invitation from Kolkata Mary Ward Social Center, Kolkata, to join you all on this important occasion when we are discussing the important issue of trafficking of human beings. At the outset, please accept my best wishes for finding solutions to this heinous crime against humanity and rapidly spreading its tentacles in almost all countries due to the vulnerabilities of people. Unfortunately, I'm unable to be with you all today, even though I was keen to reconnect to my school years spent in St. Mary's, Allahabad, whose guiding spirit was Mary Ward. A remarkable person who influenced so many minds to do good for humanity. This conference is a befitting tribute to her. Trafficking of human and children is an organized crime which violates all tenets of human dignity and rights. The right against exploitation is one of the most important fundamental rights under the Indian Constitution. Article 23 declares slave trade, prostitution and human trafficking as a punishable offense. Section 370 of IPC defines trafficking of persons as whoever for the purpose of exploitation recruits, transports, harbors, transfers, or receives a person or persons by using threats or using force or any other form of coercion or by abduction or by practicing fraud or deception or by abuse of power or by inducement, including the giving or receiving of payments or benefits, in order to achieve the consent of any person, having control over the person recruited, transported, harbored, transferred or received, commits the offense of trafficking. Further, the expression exploitation shall include any act of physical exploitation in form of sexual exploitation, slavery, or practices similar to slavery, servitude, or the forced removal of organs. Further, the consent of the victim is immaterial in determination of the offense of trafficking. Also, whoever commits the offense of trafficking shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 7 years, but which may extend to 10 years, and shall also be liable to fine. But where the offense involves the trafficking of a minor, it shall be punishable with rigorous imprisonment for a term not less than 10 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life, and shall also be liable to fine where the offense involves the trafficking of more than one minor. It shall be punishable with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 14 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life, and shall also be liable to fine. Further, if a person is convicted of the offense of trafficking of minor on more than one occasion, then such person shall be punished with imprisonment for life, which shall mean imprisonment for the remainder of that person's natural life, and shall also be liable to fine. Section 370A also states that whoever knowingly traffics a minor, engages such minor for sexual exploitation in any manner, shall be punished with rigorous imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 5 years, but which may extend to 7 years, and shall also be liable to fine. Child trafficking can be understood as the process of illegally transporting, transferring, or harboring a person below the age of 18 years for the purposes of exploitation, both physical and sexual, as these children are used for prostitution, forced marriages, illegal adoptions, and cheap or unpaid labor, etc., within or outside the country. Trafficking does not only occur in cases of girls, but even boys are trafficked as bonded or child labor in most cases. The 2015 NCRB data suggests that a total of 9,104 children were trafficked in 2015, which is 27% increase over 2014. India experiences trafficking both within the country and cross-border trafficking. Estimates indicate that of human trafficking, over 60% is of children, as children due to vulnerability are easier to intimidate and less risky due to the connivance of their care providers. The causes of global child trafficking are varied and complex, but notably include poverty, lack of opportunities, the economic gains, land demarcation, illegal gains through exploitation of children, entrenched gender discrimination, and discriminatory cultural practices. Rates of trafficking are frequently high in areas where there are limited job possibilities, where children have minimal education and vocational skills, and where children are living without parents or primary caregivers. Porous borders and the presence of natural disasters, conflicts further enhance vulnerability to trafficking, as does forced migration. Children without birth registration or identity documents are also face a heightened risk of trafficking. Thus, push and pull factors of trafficking can be described as poverty, female feticide or infanticide, child marriage, natural disasters, domestic violence, unemployment, lure of job, marriage, and domestic servitude. Migration, hope of job, marriage, demand of cheap labor, enhanced vulnerability, lack of awareness, marketing by sex traffickers for experimental sex tourism, internet pornography, organized crime for generating high profit for traffickers. On analysis of the data of the National Crime Records Bureau on crime against children, it is observed that there is spurt in the cases of crime against children since 2009. The figure rose from 24,203 in 2009 to 94,172 in 2015, resulting in increase of almost 300% over a period of 6 years. Deeper analysis shows that the crime heads where substantial increase has taken place between 2009 and 2015 is procuration of minor girls, kidnapping and abduction, and selling of minors for prostitution. Thus, we need to proactively protect our children from violence and crime, to identify and plug the gaps that enable traffickers to get away, and to formulate an effective multi-sectoral action plan for combating child trafficking. The Ministry of Women and Child Development has also formulated a scheme, Ujjwala, to offer financial assistance to non-governmental organizations who are working in this sector. I'm sure that this international conference with its rich collective experience will show us the way. Collectively, we will overcome and subdue this monster. My best wishes for a very successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Anona. Mr. Bruce Bucknell is the British Deputy High Commissioner, Kolkata. He represents the UK in the 13 Indian states of West Bengal, Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, and the 8 northeastern states. Before taking up his current assignment, Mr. Bucknell was Her Majesty's Ambassador to the Republic of Belarus. He studied modern history at Durham University and takes a keen interest in the history of the places he visits. I request Mr. Bucknell to address the gathering.
Thank you very much. There are still places in the front. Please come in. Please, just come in. I've got seats that's free down here. Come and sit down because it's important that we have people in here today. As ever, when you come to one of these events, a lot of things have already been said, so I'll just do a little bit of, I'll cut the statistics. Let me just say sort of 3 main things. First of all, can I congratulate Sister Mary Ward, I'm going to get the wrong title, apologies, but can I congratulate you on the work that you've done? I've been sitting on the dais and I've been reading this, and I have to say, before I came in, I had all this injunction about the importance of the issue and what we should do, but a lot of the answers are already in here. Fantastic production, if I may say so. I compliment you on what you've done. So to get the right name, the Kolkata Mary Ward Social Centre, thank you for the work you've done. It's really good that there are so many people here today on one level because you're addressing the issue. And I think I'm sort of humbled to actually be up here because a lot of the work's being done. So I think there's experience, and there's probably much more experience in the rest of the hall that I simply can't add to. But of course the important point is, if I can use that dreadful business word, it's time to scale up. It's time to actually do more, bring more people into this conversation. And the fact that we've still got people not sitting down, the fact that we still have people outside, I think is testament to probably the feeling that you all have that we need to do more about this terrible issue. So that's the first thing. Thank you for coming and sharing experience. Secondly, thank you for having us, the British, because, you know, let's be frank. There's a little bit of history here that we have to sort of look at. You know, I'm not going to hide it. It's no point pretending otherwise. But I hope that we're starting to actually pay quite a lot of those dues of history. And if I may say so, I will just do the quick infomercial. My Prime Minister is a woman, as is the Chief Minister of the State of West Bengal. And it does mean that priorities are sometimes slightly different than when men may be the Chief Ministers or the Prime Ministers of their states. And Mrs. May has made tackling this issue, the issue of human trafficking, a top foreign policy priority. She's advocating better international coordination to deliver the commitments made under the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And her strong view is that governments and international agencies should prioritise interventions and resources to tackle the issues. And this point was very well made by our colleague from Kenya, and to support victims. There's no point doing anything if all you do is fail to address the stigma of human trafficking on the victims. And in that respect, it is so important that we bring to justice those who perpetrate these crimes and exploit other human beings. They are, after all, trafficked when they're at their most vulnerable point in their lives, and generally the children, for personal and commercial gain. We should not tolerate it. I'm really pleased today that I have my colleague from Delhi, who I think I can see, Sapna, in the audience, as a sign of the commitment that we're not going to tolerate it. She is the representative in India of the National Crime Agency, the government agency set up to tackle organised crime, including human trafficking. Sapna is going to be here today. Please come and talk to her. Please come and talk to me after we've had this inaugural session. I will have coffee, I will mix with people afterwards. It's important we interact more with you because I think the experience you've got on the ground is fantastic. Let's do the last point. I think that I have to say that the other agency of my government, the Department for International Development, has already done a lot of work that will help mitigate and tackle this issue. We've done various programs. I'm not going to read out so many of them, but I will just say a couple which are important, and that is in the neighbouring state of Odisha, the Department for International Development supported the Girls Incentive Programme, where nearly 1.3 million disadvantaged adolescents, including over 600,000 girls, were helped to stay in school and reduce their risk of early marriage and trafficking. I cannot say that, give that example, without also paying dues to the Honourable Chief Minister of the State of West Bengal and her programme of Kanyashri, because it's exactly the same thing. If you give people the chance, the encouragement and support, particularly young people, to stay in education longer, you'll help stop, I think, the enticements to actually be drawn in to trafficking. And then just another one, that the Department for International Development has actually worked with the ILO, Work in Freedom, supporting safe migration, because people do move, and there are good reasons. They shouldn't be stopped necessarily. But you've got to allow to manage it properly, and there needs to be government capacity building at the national and state level to allow people to move into work. And through this particular programme, done with the ILO, 90,000 women have benefited from training to help them make informed migration decisions, and so reduce their chances of being trafficked. Ladies and gentlemen, I've spoken enough. Please come and talk to me afterwards. Please let's share this experience. Please let's have more people in the hall. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity today. I've already heard so many things that make me feel as though actually, we could benefit if we can work together and scale up the effort that have already been done by the likes of Mary Ward to make a wider international effort without cooperation across borders, amongst peoples all around the world. And just one final statistics. This is not just a poor country issue by any means. Please don't forget it. We estimate there are something like 10 to 13,000 people in my country who are in effect being trafficked to work. And that we are a reasonably rich country. If it can happen in my country, I just think it gives a sense of that this is a problem we should be tackling together. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Bucknell. The crime of trafficking in persons is carried out by different kinds of traffickers, ranging from individuals exploiting their partners to organized criminal groups operating across national borders. Trafficking in persons is usually thought of as a transitional organized crime, and indeed, many trafficking outfits meet this criteria of transitional organized crime groups as spelled out by the United Nations Conventions Against Transitional Organized Crime. May we now request Mr. P.M. Jamal Hussain, Councillor and Head of Chancery, Deputy High Commission of the People's Republic of Bangladesh in Kolkata, to share his thoughts with us. Mr. Hussain.
Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, very good afternoon, very good morning to you all. I would like to express my heartfelt thanks to Kolkata Marriott Center for organizing such an timely and important event. It gives me immense pleasure to be here, as the issue we are discussing and the issue Marriott Kolkata Center has chosen is a serious global issue. If we consider the most concerning three issues in the world, that might be the three organized crimes: drug, arms, and the third could be the human trafficking. And here we are addressing this issue. My colleague from British Deputy High Commission, Bruce Buckle, I thank him so much for his nice presentation. He has proudly mentioned that his Prime Minister is a lady. I would but for our kind information. But he has mentioned it. It is very relevant because the issue we are discussing here, the victims are mostly lady, women and children. What comes women? For that kind of information, our Prime Minister is a lady. Our leader of the opposition is a lady. Our Speaker of the Parliament is a lady. And I don't like to mention the name of the ministers of the Bangladesh Parliament who are ladies. It is a big list. Distinguished guest, you have already learned from the speakers some very valid points. You know, human trafficking in person, in brief, in short, as we call it, TIP. This is considered to be the darkest episode of population mobility. We cannot stop population mobility, but this is the darkest episode we consider. And it has been widely considered as a major human security issues as well today. Increasingly, people from the poor families are being forced to this new form of human slavery and the trade of human dignity. For your kind information, the government of Bangladesh, though endured huge efforts, failed to control this human trafficking completely. It is very difficult because it is an international issue, cross-border issue, a very difficult issue. The world, its nations, people, and environment all face newer threats and challenges from time to time. Accordingly, leaving apart the traditional notions of security, human trafficking in persons has become one of the non-traditional security issues in the recent decades, mostly due to unprecedented scale of its phenomenon. For your how Bangladesh sees this issue. The Constitution of Bangladesh mandates the establishment of a society based on the rule of law, justice and respect for human dignity and the worth of all persons. The Constitution, Bangladesh Constitution bans forced and bonded labor. Article 34 of Bangladesh Constitution clearly bans forced and bonded labor. Bangladesh Constitution imposes a duty on the state to prevent and suppress the prostitution of human beings and guarantees a number of fundamental rights that strongly imposes duties on the state to ban human trafficking in all its forms. Government of Bangladesh is implementing a series of activities to combat human trafficking. We have to move from theory to practice. Only through the theories we can combat this heinous crime. We have to look into the practices. As a result of effectiveness of all committees and motivational, preventive and awareness building activities against human trafficking, Bangladesh has achieved commendable success in combating human trafficking in recent years, some of which I would like to mention now. As you know, Bangladesh is a small country with huge population. This is notably affected by the organized crime called trafficking in person. Bangladesh is one of the important and crucial victim of this problem. Bangladesh acts as an important source and transit country for human trafficking in person in Southern Asia. The main domain of human trafficking is forced labor and sex trafficking. Trafficking in person is illegal, we all know, and it is difficult to find reliable estimates of the size of this problem. However, various reports such as Congressional Research Service, CRS reports, DIP reports of the US State Departments and Bangladesh country reports, etc., reveal that it is a large and growing crime globally as well as in Bangladesh. Noteworthy to mention, anti-trafficking initiatives and achievements of the government of Bangladesh. I would like to mention a very few. You are all aware that once upon a time, children are sent to Middle East countries to serve as camel jockey. This is one of the most inhuman activities, inhuman sports in the world. For your kind information, Bangladeshi children are no more used as camel jockey in Middle East. And this has been possible after a strong movement by the Bangladesh government, supported by UNICEF. Bangladesh government has formed trafficking monitoring committees at the ministry level and root level, district level, countering trafficking activities. In root level, at district level, Upazila level, Union Parishad level. A very important achievement in this field is that the government of Bangladesh has adopted a clear anti-trafficking law, that is the Human Trafficking Deterrence and Suppression Act 2012. This law is under this law, there is an increased number of which earlier it could not be imagined. Increased number of investigations and prosecutions has been done, which leads to eradicate human trafficking in Bangladesh part. And this act generally prohibits and punishes all all forms of human trafficking. Human trafficking is a crime. You know, it is a heinous crime, and Bangladesh is committed to eradicate, if not possible to eliminate, this problem. And she has been dedicating efforts through collaborative approaches involving government, NGOs, civil societies, and all concerned who are working on this sector. I thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Hussain. I would once again like to inform you that the proceedings of the inaugural ceremony is live, and the live streaming is being watched by many people across the world, and we have been receiving messages from people from different corners of the world congratulating the efforts of the social centers. The registration process is still going on, and there are already over 300 registrations. Ms. Ananya Chakraborty heads the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Prior to this, she was on the faculty of the Department of Mass Communications, St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. She is a national award-winning documentary filmmaker and a journalist who has specialized in trafficking and other gender issues. We invite Ms. Ananya Chakraborty to say a few words.
I would like to thank Sister Monica for involving me in this process. When she first came to see me a few months ago, when we were discussing this conference, I had no idea about the depth of her sincerity and commitment to this issue, and I'm very glad that the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights is collaborating with the Kolkata Mary Ward Society in this extremely important conference. I would like to start by saying that most of the legal aspects have already been spoken about. The laws have been spoken about, and the various things that are being done by everyone has been already stated. So without repeating what everyone has said, I would like to start by saying that I really thank God that I'm given this position to chair the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, because as I have been working on trafficking for many years. When I used to go to shelter homes, when I was part of a repatriation, when I would record the repatriation, there were many things that were happening which I wanted to change, which I felt they required change, but I was not in a position to bring about that change. When suddenly I was given this position, and now I realize that I not only can change things, but I'm supposed to change the things. So I really thank someone above for giving me this opportunity to do what I had really wanted to do, to bring about the changes that are required. The first thing that comes to my mind whenever we talk about a victim of trafficking, and most often a victim of trafficking is equated to sex trafficking, which is not true. As many of our previous speakers have said, trafficking happens for many reasons, for labor, for organ transplant, and so on and so forth. Earlier also for camel racing. But even if we take only sex trafficking, if we confine our vision to only sex trafficking, I have seen the process of their rescue, and I've seen the process of their of them being sent back to their original country of origin from where they had come. And what struck me most was the indignity with which these girls are treated when they are rescued or when they are sent back. Unless we learn to treat people with dignity, victims of trafficking with dignity when we rescue them, then it's no point holding any conference. Because unless we can treat them with dignity, they will never learn to respect themselves. And the end of trafficking does not end with just the rescue of the girl. The rescuing the victim is just one small component in addressing the issue of trafficking. The most important part is to ensure that she is not re-trafficked. And how do we do that? We do that by giving her dignity, by giving the victim of sex trafficking dignity, by treating her with respect, by giving her an alternative to what she has been doing, by allowing her to reintegrate into society. That is the most important thing. We have to also understand the difference between migration and trafficking. Migration is every person's birthright. I think each one of us sitting in this room, none of us can claim that all our ancestors were living where we are now living. We have all migrated, and migration is a birthright. Everyone has a right to migrate. Earlier it was men who used to migrate and the women used to follow. Then a time came when women also migrated on their own. Informed migration is the best form of migration. It is only when somebody who migrates in search of a better life or for a better living or for livelihood is tricked or deceived by a trafficker, it is there that the problem starts. Now, if we discourage migration, if we discourage women especially from migrating, we are confining them. We are regressing in our path to progress. We must encourage women to migrate. We must encourage women to fulfill their dreams, their aspirations. Their potentials must be allowed to flower. We must encourage that, but we have to form systems by which their migration is safe and that they are informed when they migrate. Very often the notion, one part of the society, the notion is that marry her off and she will be safe. We forget that often a very important push factor in trafficking is domestic violence. A woman is not safe within her marriage. Very often, we know the rate of violence in a domestic, in a marriage situation. We don't talk about it. We pretend it does not happen. But we have to accept that there is violence within marriage. And this pushes a woman to run away. Because within the system that we live in, the social system that we live in, she doesn't have anywhere to go to. Even her parents will not take her back. She's not groomed to be independent, she's groomed to be a housewife. So therefore she doesn't have any other world. She has no other option often to run away and be an easy victim to a trafficker. So marriage is not a solution to trafficking. We have to understand that very, very clearly. The only solution, if there is a solution, is to form systems by which migration is made safe, by which women are empowered, by which the system, the people who are within the system, learn how to give dignity to the survivors of trafficking. Unless we can do that, there will be more and more trafficking, people will be trafficked, they will be re-trafficked, and they will come back from where they had been. And for me, slavery, sex slavery, is not confined to the brothels. It is also within marriages. And for me, sex slavery will not end. If I do not see an end to sex slavery unless the government announces marital rape also as an offense. I thank all of you for being here. We will learn from each other in these sessions, and we need to look things in the eye. As Bruce said, that we have to face facts, we have to accept the reality. We cannot change things if we push the real issues below the carpet. We need to surface the issues and we need to address them, and only then things can be solved. Thank you.
Thank you, Ananda. Sandra Wowurunta is a survivor of human trafficking and domestic violence. She now lends her voice globally in the fight against modern-day slavery through raising awareness, education, advocacy, legislation, lobbying, and empowerment. She holds a bachelor's degree in finance and banking management and was an international money market trader and manager of the Treasury Department of an international bank. In 2001, when she went to the United States for an employment opportunity, she was illegally sold and forced into the underground sex trade. After escaping, she co-founded a survivor leadership program, Voices of Hope, and founded Mentoring Human Trafficking Survivor Empowerment Program to help survivors in their integration into community. As a motivational and inspirational speaker, she has spoken at symposiums and conferences across the globe. We invite Ms. Sandra Wowurunta to share her thoughts with us.
Wow, it's a big room. It is an honor for me to be here with all of you. Hi, how are you? I cannot hear 300 people say good or fine. How are you? I want to make sure everybody wake up, okay? So, I am here presented million victims and survivors globally to tell the story, because of story need to be told. If no story, there is no work. What we have to do is listen, analyze, think, and do the action. So let me start my story. I think 1998 was the start of the process why I became a victim of human trafficking. 1998, political turbulence happened in Indonesia, where the economic crash and religious persecution happening in my country, where Christian Catholic people got killed by people. You know, it wasn't safe for me. From everywhere, I lost my job in the bank, and I have little girls that need to be cared. She is so sweet. Her name is Tanya. Tanya was 3 years old at that time. I was a single parent because my husband passed away. But I have promised to myself, because children need to be educated. The best that we can give is education to our children, where they can be our future. If they are not educated, they don't receive education, how they will be? So I graduated from college when I was 18 years with my bachelor degree. I was too early, actually. I'm not sure if I was smart, but I made it. And then what happened? I love to eat Pizza Hut. I love to eat McDonald's. I love to eat KFC. Because of in my country, it's a fancy food. You know, not the traditional food that I love, but it was a fancy food. And watching the movie, everybody watched American movie, right? What do you see in the movie? All about the goodness, about the beautiful building, nice baby Benz car, Mercedes, all about nice thing that we can see in the movie. All beautiful, makeup, blonde hair. No, my hair is blonde. Actually, my hair is black. So this is what I see in the movie. So it was another dream that I come to United States. I will meet Richard Gere. I will meet Whitney Houston. I will go to Disneyland. Everywhere in my brain. When I saw an advertisement in the newspaper, it said 6 months work in hotel in Chicago. But the requirement, I have to pay $3,000 US, a lot of money. But I was economist. Now I'm not economist anymore, but I'm a leader now, woman leader that fight human trafficking. So I thought, I pay $3,000, I make $5,000 a month. It means 6 months, 30,000 minus 3,000, 27 for my daughter college fund. Wow, 27,000. Good, right? In Indonesia at that moment was 17,000. The conversion. So a lot of money. And I thought, oh yeah, it's good. And at that moment, I was an activist of labor rights. Because at that moment, in Indonesia, has no certain labor law. There is no vacation paid and many different things that need to be done. So I was on the street doing campaigns, fighting that women need to have certain thing, have the facility of maternity, taking care of the baby, call sick or whatever. Because why? Who will fight for women if not women? But I think my money will go away if I don't work. So the decision to go to the United States made. I have money, right? I was working in the bank, even though my salary was $250 a month. And I was happy that I got the job. I went to the embassy and I got the visa. Oh yes, I will go to the United States, meet with Whitney Houston, eat McDonald's, Pizza Hut, and KFC. It was the plan. Yeah. Oh, I dressed up nice. Arrival in JFK was amazing. A big, huge airport. In Indonesia, only small airport, So my imagination is, ooh, nice. I will go to Chicago. I was thinking New York and Chicago, very short trip. Because in the map it's so short, right? Tiny. And I didn't imagine I have to fly hours to go to Chicago. And you know what? This is the one that I felt happy that I trust someone. In the arrival, someone had my picture and said, "Hey, are you Chandra?" And then I was happy and I just said, "Yes, it's me." I said, I trusted him because he has my picture, he has a copy of my passport. How you feel if you see someone had all your information and call you? Means this is a strange place, someone knew me and I will be safe. I will go to Chicago 6 months, meet Whitney Houston, Richard Gere, go to Disneyland and go back home. It's not that easy. It's good to be true, $5,000 a month. But because of the movie, I trust the movie. Similar when I want to go to India, what I watch in the movie, it's one nice thing. With nice dress, dancing, singing. When I come here, I say, Kolkata, I really want to do something with Sister Monica. I really want to do something to combat human trafficking in the city. It's amazing how the movie show us the difference. We have to learn. We cannot just trust what the presentation of the movie, of the people that told you. It's not right. It's not true. So someone picked me up and he said, I have to stay overnight because Chicago is not close. And I trusted him. And the fact, many people behind me, all very young, 15, 17 years old. I was the oldest because my body is tiny. I was skinny. They think I was young and I was 24 years old. This is the the story about become a leader. In the trafficking situation, victim never think that they are victim. They didn't know if they are victim. I wasn't scared. The one that I knew is, this is not right. They kidnapped me. I was thinking it was kidnap. Actually not. It is more than a kidnap. So I was sold at the first day my arrival. I didn't know if I was sold. What I saw, I was exchanged with a bunch of money, and this trafficker brought me to another location. I was sold again. In between few hours, I was sold to the sex buyers. I never deserved to be sold. I never deserved to be forced. I never deserved if the promise was false. I never deserved to be threatened by the gun. So with the gunpoint, I worked as a slave. It wasn't easy. I was drugged. No water, only alcohol morning to night time. I have to babysit all the young girls that traffic with me because they don't speak English. Most of them came from Asia, Thailand, China, Malaysia, Indonesia. And the trafficker didn't care. If you fight, you're gonna get hit, slap, and the gun always be there. The gun was symbol of the death. My neck was sliced by hunting knife. So what I do at that moment was compliance. I couldn't cry. What I did was trying to survive. With my faith, I have a hope that one day I will see the light. I was locked in the basement. I never see the sunlight. Every day I become more aware, and my hope was a living hope because I knew that my God is the living God. I cannot tell my friend, I cannot tell people asking help, but my trust only with my God, that He gave me strength every day. Until one day, I met a lady in the brothel that she told me, "Hey, Candy," they changed my name Candy. They say Chandra is not nice. My name is nice, beautiful name that my mom gave me. Candy, if you paid off your debt, call this number. So my situation, my traffickers created a damn bondage because of he gave me the job, slavery job. I was forced into sex business, and I had to pay $30,000 US for that job. How I paid off that job? One customer that bought my body will deduct $100 from $30,000. How many people I have to serve? Will they let me go? I don't think so. If you sell drug only once, you sell weapon maybe 2-3 times. When you sell human body, it is 1,000, 10,000. They might die. I was thinking, I will die. And my daughter's face is dancing on my brain, on my eyes. I want to go back home for her. The strength that God gave it to me helped me to move forward my life. And they sent me back to another location. And that moment, I took all the girls, all young. I was the oldest. Children cannot do anything if they are in the situation. They don't think. What they think is rebel, fight. And what happened? They will be abused by the trafficker. I was abused physically, sexually, mentally, verbally. I was adult. How about children? Let's think about that. taking care of those children in the brothel give me more strength to save them. So this lady in the brothel told me to call this number, and it was another hope for me. It was another hope that I can call this number, I will work, and I will make money, and I will go back home for Tanya. That's the plan. But the fact at that night after I took the girl's spray, that, oh Lord, just give me a strength and salvation from this situation. Suddenly, I went to the bathroom, I saw a little window. Who went to Girl Scout in this room? I was lucky I was Girl Scout. Because of I learned to survive when I was Girl Scout, I was able to open that window. Without screwdriver, without knife, what I do is with a spoon. It was amazing. I encourage everybody, if you have boys, send them to Girl Scout. This is very important to teach them how to survive. And at that moment, my body was tiny. I was about 42 kilograms. Not like now. Now it's big, 50 something. So the window is small, right? The window is small. And some go big, some of them small like me, tiny. So I told them, my English was broken English, even now still broken English. But I speak Indonesian well. So I told them, I want to run away. And everybody, yes. The Thai girl, the Chinese girl, they don't know what is running away. They follow me to the bathroom, and my trafficker slept in front of the main door. So I made sure that my trafficker slept good, and I went to the bathroom, and I said, I go first. So I climbed the sink, I went to that window, small window, very small, and it is too high. It was second floor bathroom window. So imagine, right? So I have to check, to think if I die or I break my bone or whatever, I have my freedom. That's what the decision. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, amen. I jumped, and it was miracle that I didn't have any fracture or scratch on my skin. It wasn't me. God saved me. And the funniest thing, the 12 years old, the 15 years old, I'm not sure how old she was, she jumped on my body. It was the painful feeling at that moment because of I have to lay down on the floor and she jumped on my body. But it was the story of how I escaped. We ran. I went back. I saw the girls holding the window. I waved my hand and I said, I'll come back for you. I'll be here for you and pick you up. When you see someone inside and you are outside, you have your freedom. You can breathe nicely. And those people inside, I was suffered outside to see them. Even I have freedom. My promise kept bothering me when I ran to the city. I asked help to people. None of people showing me help. And I called that number. Actually, he was another trafficker and I was re-trafficked again by this man. With this young girl. I escaped again. I went to churches. I went to consulate general. I went to law enforcement, police. I went to community. No one helped me. So who will help me? I was angry to myself. Why people don't see if someone needs help? Sometimes we close our eyes that someone needs help. I was homeless. I slept in the train. I slept in the bus. I slept in the park. You know how dangerous is that? The girl that ran away with me captured by this trafficker, so I was alone after the second escape. I have to bag the food, I dig the food from the garbage can. That's what my life. Until someone, angel came. US Navy, that he was in vacation and he listened to me. I asked food, and why you cry? Because of I was in the situation, my friend captured, and he said, I help you. He called FBI, and FBI connected me to the local tracing, and finally they checked all my information, and it was like a movie, you know. I always watch American movie, right? I love American movie. It is amazing how they busted the brothel. So like when you're Indian people here, you see the location raped by police. It was the situation I saw. Reunification with all girls was a happiness. My trafficker arrested and sex buyers also arrested, and it's not easy for me to survive. It's not easy. Why? Because I was rejected by the community, by the society. I was rejected by my family. You are a prostitute. They call me prostitute. I wasn't. I was prostituted. I was a victim. People don't understand the difference in between of whatever willing victim or victim, and also people that are willing to do that. But understand something. Women in prostitution always get abused. Whether they are victim of trafficking, victim of abuse, they are abused. And human trafficking is a violation of human rights. And I believe everybody knows that. Since I learned, I have to speak up against this because of my survival time until I become independent is not easy. I fight for myself. I got the job by myself. No services available. But I believe I want to put my trafficker in the jail, and I have to work hard. I have a consequence. Because the bad people have to be jailed. It was started. But I met my husband, my ex-husband, and I didn't know actually he was another abuser. He used my experience as a victim of human trafficking became a daily terror for me because of he called me prostitute. So I work for him 7 days a week, and I get no money. Besides, I have to take care of my children. This is another situation, intersection in between domestic violence and human trafficking, and we heard from one of the speakers. Without victim, there is no work to fight human trafficking. And I am grateful to Sister Monica who found me to be here because my story needs to be told. This is only one from million stories. What can we do? So many things that you can do. But again, partnership, collaboration, cooperation needed. What we do is all for the victim. And also how we prosecute the trafficker. Don't let them go. We know we have law, but how to make sure that law implemented and enforced? This is our responsibility towards the government, towards those people, to enforce that law so the trafficker can be jailed. How about the victim? If too many victims, too much victim, it's hard, right, to reintegrate them? Because we need money, we need funding to help them. We need services. The best is prevention. How much prevention that we do? Prevention is the best to eradicate human trafficking or modern slavery. Education, awareness need to be taught since they are small in the school system, in our community. We have to change our society mindset. I, as a leader, alone cannot do it. We have to come together because this is our responsibility as a human being. Because we deserve humanity. We deserve respect and dignity. And we are equal. Give the survivor the opportunity to move forward their life. There is a limited resources for them to move forward. Please help them. Help them to move forward, accept in your society, in your community. Give them opportunity to move forward. Don't let them go back to their situation. And I am here to call each one of you to be a leader, to be a change maker in your own profession. You can do it. That's easy. Just give your time, a little energy. Listen to the victim, look at the survivor, and decide what you want to do. If you are a lawyer, help them. If you are a social worker, many things that you can do, even the student. Step out from this room. Tell your friend, tell your family, human trafficking is real. It's here. Look at those children. Let's help the education. Be a volunteer. If you have money, donate your money. This is such a great job that they do. I visited Sonogachi with a sister. I met some of the women. I met the children. I went to the center. So much that we can do. And I'm looking forward to have my work here in Kolkata. My heart was crying when I see them. Imagine, as a woman, seeing another woman in that situation. The calling is more stronger. Visiting Kolkata, it's a blessing. So I went to mother's house. It has given me more strength to have work here. And I'm looking forward to work with Sister Monica team. And I'm looking forward to hear and to know you do something to fight human trafficking. Thank you.
Sandra's moving story has really left us all at a loss of words. We would now like to call on stage Mr. Hridoy Ghosh, the President of the Dhagagya Social Welfare Society, the DSWS, a charitable social welfare organization which was established in 1994. The organization works with evangelical endeavor to form a society where moral values and good principles of living would be followed. The core thematic areas on which the organization works are child protection and child rights. We would also like to call on stage a brave heart from DSWS who fought against human trafficking and is a child rights champion, Anwara Khatun. Anwara is the youngest recipient of the Nari Shakti Award, which she received this year. She is also the leader of 80 children's groups, comprising of almost 1,500 children from North 24 Parganas. In 2012, she stood second runner-up in the International Peace Prize. She was conferred the West Bengal Government State Award twice for her work against child trafficking and prevention of child marriage. She also received the prestigious She Award from the Telegraph in 2015. May I request Sister Marion Vase of the Loreto South Asia Provincial team to kindly come to the stage to felicitate Mr. Hriday Ghosh, and may I request Sudeshna Roy, filmmaker and member of the West Bengal Commission for Protection of Child Rights, to come to the stage to felicitate Anwara Khatun. Thank you. Anwara will now say a few words. Anwara আমাদের কিছু কথা বলবে এখন।
নমস্কার। মঞ্চে উপবিষ্ট সমস্ত সম্মানীয় ব্যক্তিদেরকে আমার সশ্রদ্ধ প্রণাম জানাই এবং সামনে উপবিষ্ট যে সমস্ত সম্মানীয় ব্যক্তিরা আছেন এবং আমার বয়সেও যারা আছেন তাদেরকে আমার আন্তরিক শ্রদ্ধা ও ভালোবাসা জানাই। হ্যাঁ, আমার শরীরটাও খুব খারাপ, তবুও এরকম একটা প্রোগ্রামে আসার সুযোগ পেয়েও আমি সুযোগটা হাতছাড়া করে নিয়ে আমি এসেছি। তো আমি বেশি কিছু বলতে চাই না, আপনারা তো আমার সম্বন্ধে অনেক কিছুই জেনেছেন আগের থেকে। তো আমি আনোয়ারা কিন্তু আজকে এই এত তাড়াতাড়ি কিন্তু সম্ভব হয়নি আজকে আনোয়ারার এই জায়গায় এসে দাঁড়ানোটা। আমি 2007 সাল থেকে কিন্তু লড়াই করে আসছি। আর আমার 2007 সালে আমার এই লড়াইয়ে যারা সাপোর্ট দিয়েছেন, সেভ দ্য চিলড্রেন বলে একটা সংস্থা আছেন এবং তার পার্টনার অর্গানাইজেশন থাকোগিয়া সোশ্যাল ওয়েলফেয়ার সোসাইটি, যিনি ডিরেক্টর হৃদয় ঘোষ দাদা, উনিও আমার সঙ্গে আছেন। তো ওনাদের সহযোগিতায় আমি এই পর্যন্ত আসতে পেরেছি এবং আমার এই পর্যন্ত আসার কিন্তু আমাদের ওয়েস্ট বেঙ্গল সরকারেরও কিন্তু অনেক ভূমিকাও আছে, ওনারাও কিন্তু অনেকভাবে আমাকে সহযোগিতা করেছেন। তো আমি যখন আমার কাজের কিছু অভিজ্ঞতা বলি, আমি যখন 2007 সালে যখন আমার কাজটা শুরু করেছিলাম তখন কিন্তু আমার সামনে অনেক বাধা, অনেক বিপত্তি এসেছিল। আজকে আমি সেগুলো কাটিয়ে এসেছি। তো আমি এখন 80টা চিলড্রেন্স গ্রুপের লিডারশিপ করি, যেখানে 1500 বাচ্চা আছে। শুধু আমি আনোয়ারা একা নয়, আমার মতো আরো কিন্তু 1500 বাচ্চা আছে যারা এই লড়াইটা লড়ছে। যে চিলড্রেন্স গ্রুপগুলোকে আমরা গঠন করেছি, সেগুলোকে আমাদের একটাই উদ্দেশ্য ছিল যে ওনারা যেটা আমাদের মাথায় ঢুকিয়েছিল যে যাদের সমস্যা তারা যদি আগিয়ে না আসে তাহলে কিন্তু এই সমস্যাগুলো আমাদের সমাধান করা যাবে না। সেই জন্য করে আমাদের এই গ্রুপগুলোকে তৈরি করা হয়েছিল। তো আমরা এই গ্রুপগুলোকে নিয়ে বিশেষ কাজ করি, যেগুলোকে আজকে ট্রাফিকিং, যেটা হচ্ছে শুধু আমাদের ভারতবর্ষেও নয়, সারা বিশ্ব জুড়ে এই সমস্যাটা রয়েছে ট্রাফিকিংটা। তো আমরা সেই গ্রুপটা সেই কাজগুলো করি, যেমন আমরা পাচারটাকে আটকাই, বাল্যবিবাহ আটকাই, তারপরে যারা এখনো গ্রামে আছে তাদেরকে আমরা বাইরে যেতে দিই না, যারা এখনো বাইরে আছে তাদেরকে আমরা ফিরিয়ে নিয়ে আসি। আমাদের চিলড্রেন্স গ্রুপ ছাড়াও কিন্তু বড়দেরকে নিয়ে একটা কমিটি গঠন করা হয়েছে, যেটাকে চাইল্ড প্রোটেকশন কমিটি আমরা বলি। ওনাদের সঙ্গে কিন্তু নিয়মিত আমাদের একটা যোগাযোগ রাখতে হয়। আমাদের কোথায় আমাদের কাজ করতে গেলে আমাদের কোথায় অসুবিধা হচ্ছে, আমাদের কোথায় সুবিধা হচ্ছে, সেগুলো কিন্তু আমরা ওনাদের সঙ্গে শেয়ার করি। এবং আমাদের কাজের ধরনটা হলো যে আমরা কিভাবে এগুলো আটকাতে পারছি, বা আমরা কিভাবে কোনো একটা ট্রাফিকার আসলে আমরা কিভাবে খবর পাচ্ছি সেটা একটু বলি। যে আমাদের গ্রুপগুলো তো এক জায়গায় কারোর বাড়ি নয়, কয়েকটা পাড়া মিলে একটা গ্রাম হয়। তো সেই জন্য করে আলাদা আলাদা সবার বাড়ি। তো আমাদের এমন বলা আছে যে কাউকে যদি আমরা সন্দেহজনক মনে করি তখন কিন্তু আমরা তার পিছু নিই। যখন আমরা বুঝতে পারি যে ও কোনো খারাপ উদ্দেশ্য নিয়ে এসেছে, তখন কিন্তু আমাদের গোটা টিমটা এক জায়গায় হয়ে একটা মিটিং করে নিই আমরা। তারপরে কি হয় যে বাচ্চার সঙ্গে ঘটনাটা ঘটতে চলেছে তখন কিন্তু আমরা সেই বাচ্চার সঙ্গে কথা বলার চেষ্টা করি। আর এই জায়গাটাই কিন্তু আমাদের খুব চ্যালেঞ্জের, আর এবং এই জায়গাটা কিন্তু খুব কষ্টকর। অতজনের চোখ এড়িয়ে ওই বাচ্চাটার সঙ্গে কথা বলা এবং তারপরে তাকে বোঝানো। তো এইভাবে আমরা 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 আমাদের কাজটা করি। অনেক সময় কি হয় যে আমরা এই কাজগুলো করতে গিয়ে কিন্তু আমরা আটকাতে পারি না, কিন্তু আমাদের চিলড্রেন্স গ্রুপদের যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত ক্ষমতা থাকে তারা কিন্তু ততক্ষণই চেষ্টা করে যায় তারা নিজেরাই সেটা আটকানোর জন্য, কিন্তু যখন তারা পারে না তখন কিন্তু তারা সিপিসি কমিটি সহযোগিতা নেয়। অনেক সময় কি হচ্ছে সিপিসি কমিটিরাও কিন্তু পারে না, তখন আমাদের পুলিশের হেল্প নিতে হয়, আমাদের চাইল্ড লাইনের হেল্প নিতে হয়। তো আমি আর বেশি কিছু বলতে চাই না, আমি শরীরটাও খুব খারাপ, তবে আমি চাই যে আজকে আপনারা যারা আছেন আপনারা যদি আমাদেরকে সহযোগিতা না করেন তাহলে কিন্তু আমরা আমাদের এই লড়াইটাকে কখনো আগিয়ে নিয়ে যেতে পারবো না। তো আমরা চাই যে আপনারা সবাই আমাদেরকে আমাদের এই লড়াইয়ের সঙ্গী হন এবং আমাদেরকে আগিয়ে যাওয়ার জন্য উৎসাহিত করেন। নমস্কার।
আনোয়ারা, অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ। Anuara said that she was unwell today, but in spite of that, she thought she had to come because she wanted to share her story with everybody. She began her work in 2007 with an organization called Save the Children, and she has been helped quite a bit by Mr. Hriday Ghosh as well as the West Bengal government. In her work, she faces many obstacles. Along with her, there are 1,500 other children who are working in groups to stop the process of human trafficking. She said trafficking is a worldwide problem, and often they have to take the help of adults, and they take the help of the child protection committees, as whenever they suspect anyone, the team meets, they decide what to do, they follow the child, speak to her, and this is a very challenging job for them because they have to do it without anybody knowing. Childline as well as the police force help them a lot in their endeavor. She hopes that everybody present here today will support their cause so that they can move forward. This is a platform which has brought all of us together and has given us the opportunity to honor the courage and spirit of individuals. We will now welcome another very brave woman from Justice and Care. She is a survivor, and today she has achieved personal growth in all aspects of her life. I would request Sister Sabrina Edwards, the first consultor of Loreto, South Asia province, to come on stage and felicitate the survivor from Justice and Care.
Go photograph, please.
She's a very brave young girl, and she will speak to us about her experience, and she will also sing a song for us.
নমস্কার সবাইকে, আমার নাম সীমা, আমার বাড়ি বাংলাদেশ। আপনাদের সবাইকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ যে আমি এখানে আসতে পেরেছি। আপনারা আমাকে এখানে আসার জন্য অনেক হেল্প করেছেন, অনেক সুযোগ দিয়েছেন আমাকে এত বড় জায়গায় আসার জন্য। আর ধন্যবাদ জাস্টিস এন্ড কেয়ারকে, যিনি যারা আমাকে রেস্কিউ করে এখন ভালো একটা জায়গায় রেখেছে, তার জন্য। আমি একটি গান শোনাবো, আপনারা প্লিজ মন দিয়ে শুনবেন। তুই বন্ধু ছাড়িয়া গেলে কি করবে মরিয়া, কি করবে মরিয়া, দয়া নাই কি একটু তো আশা ছিল আমার মনে, ঘর বাঁধিব তোমার শনে, পাইলে রাখব বুকের ভিতরে বন্ধু, পাইলে রাখব বুকের ভিতর। বিনয় করি চরণ ধরি, বিনয় করি চরণ ধরি, করিও না আমায় পর বন্ধু, করিও না আমায় পর। দয়া নাই কি একটু মনে তোর, তোরে বন্ধু দয়া নাই কি একটু মনে তোর। সহিত মায় পাওয়ার আশে ঘুরে বেড়াই দেশে বিদেশে, মায়া কি লাগে না একটু তোরে বন্ধু, মায়া কি লাগে না একটু তোর। সহিত মায় পাওয়ার আশে ঘুরে বেড়াই দেশে বিদেশে, মায়া কি লাগে না একটু তোরে বন্ধু, মায়া কি লাগে না একটু তোর। আতর গোলাপ চন্দনে দিয়া, আতর গোলাপ চন্দনে দিয়া, সাজাইব সুখের বাসর বন্ধু, সাজাইব সুখের বাসর। দয়া নাই কি একটু মনে তোর, তোরে বন্ধু দয়া নাই কি একটু মনে তোর। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Seema is very nervous out here, but she was trafficked from Bangladesh because they had given her a false hope of becoming a singer here in India. And after she was trafficked, she was here, we rescued her, and now she's in a shelter home, and we are providing her with singing classes. And she's doing her classes, and now she's also teaching to other girls. And she also wanted to, she's not going to stay, but she said that she wants to go back home soon. And when she saw Mr. Jamal, sir, she said, I want to tell him that please do my repatriation fast, I can go back home.
সীমা, তোমার বাউলাঙ্গিক গান শুনে আমাদের খুবই ভালো লেগেছে। এবং তুমি যাতে তাড়াতাড়ি বাড়ি যেতে পারো, তার জন্য আমরা নিশ্চয়ই সবাই প্রার্থনা করব। The keynote speaker this morning is Ms. Flavia Agnes. We're already introduced you. She is a lawyer with expertise in marital, divorce and property law, and has written and published numerous articles, some of which have appeared in journals like Subaltern Studies, Economic and Political Weekly and Manushi, on the themes of minorities and the law, gender and law, law in the context of women's movement, and on issues of domestic violence and feminist jurisprudence. She also advises the government on law implementation and currently advises the Ministry of Women and Child Development in Maharashtra. She is the co-founder of Majlis, meaning association in Arabic, a legal and cultural resource center. Majlis campaigns for and provides legal representation for women on issues of matrimonial rights, child custody, etc. Since its inception in 1990, Majlis has provided legal services to 50,000 women, many of them destitute, and has also counseled 3 times as many women. May I now invite Mrs. Flavia Agnes to deliver the keynote address.
I know you all are tired. You've heard everything that has to be heard on the issue of trafficking. And this keynote address doesn't make much sense at this fragment of the entire whole morning, about 10 people speaking. And yet I am called upon to deliver this address. So I will try to do my best. Be seeker of truth and doer of justice. I think this one-line message tells us our role. I'm most grateful to Sister Monica, to the Kolkata Mary Ward Social Work Center, and to all those who were part of decision making for inviting me to be the keynote speaker here. I didn't want to refuse when they invited me because I always love to come to Kolkata. But I'm not an expert on trafficking. I do not work on human trafficking issues. So I wondered why I was chosen for this very prestigious event to deliver this very prestigious lecture. You must be wondering now again, she's going to say more on law because she's a lawyer. And we have heard that all. Again, she's going to rattle off some statistics from the UN, from here, from there, national, international. We have seen it in the movie, we have heard it again and again. We know, all of us know all the statistics. If somebody had to give a test, when you go out, we'll be able to tell you. Then what else will she speak? Because she doesn't even speak or work on this issue. Yet you have to speak something. And I think my job is to make you think beyond what has been said here. Speaker after speaker has spoken about how prevalent this issue is. Laws are there, laws are not being implemented. There's collusion between traffickers and police. The shelter homes are in doldrums. There's no answer. I was really happy to hear the Bangladesh High Commissioner speaking. Mr. Jamal Hussain is not here. At least he said, we have succeeded in one thing. We don't have camel jockeys now, children being migrated, trafficked. They say we are a small country. We are a big country. We have big problems. But we have big resources. And yet, we cannot say one thing, yes, we have succeeded. We got enough statistics, 2005, I said that, 10, I said that, 15, I said that, 17, I said. I mean, this spiraling statistics. We're very happy to pass laws. We're very happy to rattle off statistics. We're very happy to paint how grave the problem is. And we, all of us, and you're sitting here, we work on those issues. wonder for every issue. I'm not only saying on this issue. I said, what is going wrong here? Why are we not able to address that issue? And I think some of the speakers said very correctly, it is that girl that matters. It is her life that matters. Have we been able to change that life? We are caught between prevention and rehabilitation. But these issues are linked to something broader, and we're not addressing that. We work in silos. We work on trafficking, we don't work on something else. We don't work on sexual violence. We don't work on domestic violence. We don't work on any other things. And we work only on this, and we think we can solve this problem only by addressing it here. One issue that I did not hear, it is not even in the entire panel discussions listed out there, but only Anand Chakravarti brought it to this meeting, and there was a brief mention in Stuti Thakur's address. There's something like domestic violence. Have you heard this word? Yes, no? What are the statistics there? What are our statistics over there? That every third woman in India is subject to domestic violence, which would include many of you and many of us, victims of domestic violence. Now imagine a home, because for us rehabilitation is bringing her back to that village, to that community, to that family. The very family who sold her in the first place. That family, basically education is very fine. She must be in school. Very good. But what beyond that? She goes home. She goes home to a very violent home. But we don't work on domestic violence. You know, these feminists, they work on domestic violence. But that's not an issue. We are in the bigger crime, sex racket is there, crime racket is there, traffickers are there, government must work, police must work. There's something small going wrong where she comes from. And she doesn't want to stay in that home. We say she was trafficked. Because she was trafficked because she didn't want to stay in that home. There is no option for her, there is no salvation for her in that place where she is trapped. And not just the child, the woman also, both are trapped in that. And this is where we need to address. And we're not able to address that issue because that's a much bigger issue. We're getting into community, we are getting into families, we are getting into dynamics of marriage, the power structures between husband and wife. We do not want to disturb that. We still consider father as the head of the family. He controls his domain. Any woman who violates that and challenges it is a bad woman. Everybody must comply and sit and be there. That is the domain that people who work on human trafficking do not touch. I've seen it in Mumbai, I've seen it in other places, I'm seeing it here. Statistics are not going to solve a problem. And what I'm going to say to you is painful to listen. But I want you to leave with these few images that I want to put before you. We work on domestic violence. We don't work on sexual violence. We provide access to justice to these women so that they go to court and get their rights. Because we have laws and we have problems, but we don't have nothing to bridge that. And our organization, as a group of lawyers and social workers, tries to do that. Every Thursday, we have a sharing. What happened this week, what happened everybody, because we work in different spaces. 2 weeks ago, a colleague who came back after a 1-month vacation, and she visited all the homes, and she said, very nice, ma'am. You know, these girls, they're educated, their health is better, their bodies are filled up, they look happy. I was very happy to see that. But you know what, the most disturbing thing, 7 new cases that came to us this week were all fathers raping daughters. All of them. And it is so disturbing that there are so many cases of fathers raping daughters. This was 2 weeks ago. Last Thursday meeting, very young lawyer, very young, she just joined about a month ago. She shared. She said this week there were 4 cases of fathers raping 2 sisters. 4 different cases. One is 8 and 10. One is 16 and 18. One is 12 and 16. And 2 sets of these girls are pregnant. Why do we rehabilitate them? Where do we take them back? And if they did not come to this phase, they would be trafficked anyway. Because they're ripe for trafficking. Because if this is the home environment that they live in, and we turn a blind eye to that space, what is all our rescue and rehabilitation is all about? This is now. I'll give you another scene that has shaken me to such an extent. One of our victims was in a shelter home, and this was just when we were starting 3 years ago on this whole sexual violence issue. We had to meet her because she was depressed. So our social worker was going. I said, even I want to come with you. I go there. It's a well-run home. AIWC runs it. Very nice. Girls look happy. They're in uniform. Their age is like 13 to 16. They're playing vigorous football in uniform with 2 clubs. Our girl is 8 months pregnant, 9 months pregnant. She's depressed. She's not playing. I look around. There must be about 25-30 girls. I look around. I look at one girl. I say, something is amiss here. And that girl is pregnant. 7-8 months pregnant, she's playing. So you have a body of a child, you have a face of a child, you have a mind of a child, and you have a stomach of an adult woman which is pregnant. And this girl doesn't know how to hold that stomach and how to manage her body as a pregnant woman. I was shaken. I looked at the next girl. Smaller maid. She's also running. She is also 8 months pregnant. I looked at them all, one by one, and all are pregnant. All are pregnant. So why are they here? Some are Poxo cases, some are not Poxo cases, etc. The family does not want to accept it. They have been put away. They have been put away that they will deliver the child here. They will feed the child for the first 15 days. They will give away this child and they'll come back home and then she'll be married up. Not trafficked. We don't call it trafficking. Young girls. We don't want to accept what's happening to these girls in their own homes. I could not sleep for 3 nights. I worked on so many issues. I worked on communal violence. I worked on so much of sexual violence. We worked on all of them. But this site, this is what society does to its girls. And in this entire discourse, 10 people spoke. Not one spoke about where is this girl, what is the home she's coming from. What is she trying to run away from? We're just thinking of one issue that she's trafficked. Why is she trafficked? So long as she's in school, there is some kind of control and monitoring, but most of this time, even schools do not want to address this. No one wants to address it. How can we solve this problem of trafficking when we say source, we say demand, we say conduit, we use all these words? But we are working in communities. We're working with families. We're working there where violence happens before it becomes a trafficking issue. Shouldn't that be our concern? I'll give another example. I have just 2 or 3 examples to give you. I worked a lot on the issue of girls dancing in the bars. It was a big campaign. It was a big legal case. We won in the lower court. We won in the high court. And we won in the Supreme Court. There were many, many girls working in the bars. They were dancing in the bars. Everybody thought this is immoral and it has to be taught. And dancing equals to prostitution. And our government wanted to stop it. So there were 2 issues. One is that these girls are outsiders. Where they come from? which is immoral. In Maharashtra it is happening. Or they come from West Bengal, or they come from Nepal, or they come from Rajasthan, or they come from Madhya Pradesh. And they corrupt our boys. So we want to deport them. 75,000 of them. There is another group working on child rights who said these are trafficked girls, they don't know what they are doing. And we have to stop them. You know, there's a child traffickers, there's a brothel owners, there's bar owners, and they all exploit. You talk to the girls and see, ma'am, what we were doing was far worse. We were far more exploiters there. And now all these people are jealous because now we are earning some money. We are able to send money home. But it did not fit into our moral sensibilities of the middle class women. And I was accused because they say, ये Christian है, इनमें ये सब नाच गाना चलता है. She is anyway immoral. And we, the Maharashtrian Brahmins, we are moral. She doesn't understand our culture. You know, our boys get corrupt, they spend all their money here. And then they go back and beat their wives, so it is an issue of domestic violence. The girls are saying, if we don't have money, our husbands beat us. Isn't that domestic violence? And they would call it easy money. So these girls would tell them, no, all these big fat women go and dance in the bars for 6 hours and earn money and fill their stomach. They're living off their husbands and they are giving us moral lecture about what is all this trade about. They stopped it. Not legally, they stopped it to the legislature. And all these women were working so that they could put their children in English medium good schools. They had to pull all of them out. And they told me, now you come and see. Our children can be sold for 20 rupees, 30 rupees at every street corner. This is what you all wanted. Is this for you empowerment? Is this for you liberation? So when Ananya said, do not stop migration, make conditions better for women's movements, for women to improve their lives, because nothing great is happening in their villages. Nothing great is there in their homes. They have to move. Even if they learn their skill, they have to market it like all of us have migrated. They have to go somewhere, make their lives, make it better for them. Not imprison them, because that is why you will not be able to solve this problem. Because you have not understood the problem. I'll give you another example. Very active Chief Justice. So one day it came in the newspapers that a big number of girls are trafficked and are in brothels. This is about 1995-96. Chief Justice issued a suo motu order that these girls should all be rescued. What did the police do? They went and visited all the homes which are government aided and said, how many beds you have, how many beds you have. They had about like 500 beds. That night they raided and got 500 girls and put them in the homes. Whether they were minors or majors did not matter. Because the government had to act, because Chief Justice decided they must act. Now in those homes, some are run by Christian nuns, some are run by other organizations. Other girls had, and they also run schools, they had to be put in school. All the other parents stopped sending their children to school. All the other girls in the home did not want to mix with these girls. And they used a word like, this is a captive audience. We can do all kinds of tests with them. AIDS test, this test, tuberculosis, whatever. So every day they would be taken to a public hospital, kept there whole day, gone back, and the nuns did not want to waste their afternoon lunch. So they would give them in the night. And the girls would refuse to eat and just throw the food. So neither the nuns could manage, nor the social workers could manage, nobody could manage these girls. 3 girls died. 3 girls committed suicide, another 3. And the end decision is, we must send them back. Where should we send them back? They come from Karnataka, send them back to Karnataka. They come from West Bengal, send them back to West Bengal. They come from Nepal, send them back to Nepal. Nepal to where? Their families are not accepting them. We as a host place of migration, we are not accepting them. Nobody is accepting them, but our problem is solved. We have rescued 500 women and we have cleared their brothels. Our work of anti-trafficking, firstly, it is based on certain moral principles. It is not based on the agency of the girl to change her life. It's not based on the situation back in the village from where she has run away. And somehow we have not looked at marriage, family, incest as issues of sexual exploitation, sexual violence, domestic violence. And then I mentioned marital rape, that till that happens, nothing's going to move. I want to say marital rape is a reality for half our women every night. What law will you bring about? You're talking about a fancy upper crust, who will not even go to court. You have a 12-year-old getting married, you have a 14-year-old getting married, you have an 18-year-old girl married. You see the statistics of marriage, that about 50% of our girls are married when they are before 18. And every marriage results in a rape, under 18 or over 18. But girls accept it. We all accept it. But that's not only violence that happens. There is beating, breaking of bones, breaking of skull. All that happens, at the end of it, the girl runs away. If she's a widow, she runs away. If she's a divorcee, she runs away. If she's subjected to violence, she runs away because she doesn't know what else to do. And just as our friend over there said, that you want to better your prospect, that's why you leave. But you don't know where to leave, you don't know how to, you are vulnerable. You know that this is bad, I need to do something better, but there are no vehicles or conduits to make your life better. We have conduits only to clamping down the police investigation at the airports, at the train stations, to push them back. And their only aim is to escape from there and come to that place of liberation, and that is where the exploitation actually begins. So I urge you to look at this issue in a much wider context. Do not be narrow in your perspective. Unless you root it in marriage dynamics, in the village dynamics, in the communal dynamics, in the issue of sexual violence, in the issue of incest, unless we do all that, and unless we are able to provide a support base, we will not be able to address this. Another issue I am telling you, and which is important for India. You know, in India, Indian wealthy people who come in that Forbes index, this year we crossed 100. We're about 105 today. We were about 5, 10, 50, 40. People are getting richer and richer in India. But if you see that basic index, we were like 1.1, then we came 1, now we have less than 1, which means a large number of families are poor, communities are poor, villages are poor. A gap is widening. With this India shining, government doing well, all programs going well, our poor are getting poorer. When they are poor and when they get poorer, the girls is the only thing they have to sell. There was famine in Maharashtra for 3 consecutive years, and 1 year there was no famine, and then demonetization happened and farmers could not buy seeds to sow. But you know what happened at that time? These people, farmers and all, have cows. Their cows ban came. When the cow ban came, these are Devdasi communities who had stopped offering their girls, and suddenly they said, we can't sell our cows, so we're selling our daughters. They're offering our daughters. So daughters have become so devalued more than even cows. Cows have no value in the market. We can't do anything with the cows. At least girls we can dedicate. So somebody buys these girls and we can get some money. Isn't that trafficking? And for the rest of the girl life, this girl is a dedicated girl. She's a temple prostitute. How many different ways in which we have to address this issue? This is just, I'm giving you example of Maharashtra. We had a conference last year with lawyers that what are the issues that are coming up today. And one of the journalists had written a very good article. He came and he spoke And this is what the old ladies are saying. Earlier we were not dedicating a girls, but now 3 years there's no grain, the food to eat. We have to offer this girl as a temple prostitute. We have laws, we have everything in place. And this is the reality. So, as men said, who are victims themselves, open your eyes and see around you. Not in this conference room. Go out on the street and see around you. What are the issues that are affecting us? Think deeply, don't go by the rhetoric. Don't write a project proposal of international agency, go %, %, I will put it in that framework. No, you do what you want to do. Maybe what you do is not so revolutionary, it is small steps. But these are the important steps, and you have to say, I will change something. I will make court function better. I will see that this woman gets justice. Just have your small goals, and only then your statistics will change. And I think the challenge today for us, our statistics must change. Without our statistics changing, if you're going to tout the same numbers around, it could be good for a funding agency to give funds, okay, I'm going to work on this or work on that. But it's not going to help those women and that community or those children whose lot we have to improve. So my request as this keynote address is to have linkages, to broaden our perspectives, to bring more issues into this basket so that together we can find a solution and not work in silos. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Agnes, for your very insightful address, where you have brought out a much wider angle. And as Mrs. Agnes said, I think sex racketing is age-old because the Devdasi tradition started so long ago and it still continues. We have to all work together to improve the lives of so many people. We will now have Professor Joydev Majumdar revealing the 2 days event. Professor Joydev Majumdar is the Executive Director of the Vidyasagar School of Social Work affiliated to the Vidyasagar University. He is a noted expert in the areas of child rights and protection. With more than 30 years of experience in the field of social development, with specialization in child rights and child protection, he played a key role in drafting the state rules of many important child protection laws. We invite Professor Joydev Majumdar to give us an outline of what is expected over the next 1.5 days. And may I request the members on the dais, since there's no place to sit in front, if you just turn your chairs around, you'll be able to see the outline.
August audience, the participants, mainly the researchers, activists, academics from various fields, from various countries, states across and in our home state. We are all assembled here to commemorate the 175 years of Kolkata Medieval Social Service Center. And we all congratulate this organization for choosing the theme of trafficking, and also for choosing Kolkata as its venue. We all know this is a problem across the country, and Kolkata or the West Bengal is no exception because we are sharing quite a few kilometers with other countries. Even then, at this stage, our government is also very active. They have already formed the task force. They have developed state plan of action for trafficking. because it's a problem in the state and our government is addressing it square. In 1.5 day conference, you can see the first session. There will be 3 parallel sessions in each day. Each session will be moderated by either the teachers or the activists who have profound understanding, work experience in this particular discipline. So the first session on commercial sex trade and human trafficking, the issues as challenges, mainly the social, economic, cultural, psychological factors will be discussed. The panelists are there. Mr. Arunendu Pandey, Director, Anay Rahit Jindagi Goa. Sunita Chankatti, Madam is already here. Assam State Commission for Protection of Child Rights Chairperson. Sandra, we have all heard him speaking. Camilla Grillon, University of Palermo, Italy. Aditi Singh and Sheila Modi, Symbiosis Law School, Pune. It will be one parallel session. The second session will be moderated by Rup Shen. Rup Shen has been working this discipline since a very long time and has an international exposure too. This session is basically on cross-border trafficking, from which this state particularly suffers a lot. This venue for this session will be Rabindranath Tagore Gallery. The program schedule is already with you. The panelists are Sanjay Sprong, Justice and Care, Salma Ali, a noted personality in the field of human trafficking in Bangladesh and Southeast Asia, Bikram Sharma from BSF, SN Sharma, Deputy Commandant from BSF, and Pavan Gupta and Nagan Kukreja from Symbiosis Law School. And the third session today is a very important session, that is climate change, disaster, forced movements. Forced movements. Judith, one of the speakers, she highlighted this issue on forced labor. Ravi Kant from Shakti Bahini, you all know that Ravi Kant is a noted exponent, advocate in Supreme Court, and he has been doing a lot of policy making, influencing the policies in the state as well as the national level. Shantini Datto, Justice and Care panelists, Nandita Borwa, the Asia Foundation, Kunal Shah, World Vision, Apurupa Mary Soren from National Law University Delhi, and Maitri Mondal, Oxfam India. So altogether 3 sessions together, and I request the participants, you can freely choose in which particular session we will be attending. My only request is what I have seen in this kind of a conference, that some people are frequently changing from one room to other room. It creates a little bit of problem. So I request you to please concentrate at least in one particular session. Definitely you are free, you have the democracy to attend some other sessions, but not very frequently. I have seen it. The second day, tomorrow, Sunday, it starts at 9:30. It's a cyber crime. It's an issue which is first coming up. It will be moderated by Mahesh Menon, Professor Mahesh Menon. Actually, he is a key person, a person behind for organizing this seminar. And the other panelists are Raksha Tandon, Rijwan Saik, Bhivas Chatterjee, Gayatri Kalia. The second session will be on Survivors for Justice, Rehabilitation and Reintegration. It will be moderated by Sarfaraj Khan from NUGS. Madam will be there, our chairperson, Madam Aruna Chakraborty. She will be the lead speaker. Chitta Iyer, Junaid Khan, the main queen, is a PhD research scholar. We congratulate him. Neera Gracia Lorenet from Spain. The third session will be moderated by, that is on unsafe migration, armed conflict displacement, it by Madam Rajia Ismail, another big name and a big figure, big personality in our country. The other panelists are the Manche from IOM, Ananda Madam, Ananda Bhattacharya from Banganatok.com, Manavendra Mandal from ATSEC, Jane Francos and Theo Budi, Press Theo. She is also from Indonesia, and Anushika Thamsan, Gaurav Kumar from Chetanala, New Delhi. Followed by lunch, we will have 3 more sessions. So it will be 3 more sessions, one on combating human trafficking, will be moderated by Ruchira Goswami. The second one is the role of NGOs. They have many good practices. What are they doing in different parts of the country, in other countries that we need to learn? It will be a learning exercise that will be moderated by me. And the third session will be on best practice models. It will be moderated by Sharvani Das from Justice Care. She is also one of the key players in organizing the conference. And the valedictory, it will be addressed by one. We have a very prestigious person. I mean, from University of Michigan, Professor McKinnon. She is here today, and we are eager to hear her out. Professor Bhatt, Vice Chancellor NUGS, he will also be here. Loyal University Odisha Vice Chancellor Professor Rao will also be here. Brenda Egan, General Counsel, Rome, and Diana Mao, President Nomi Network, and then lastly, the whole session of the what transpires into 1.5 days will be presented by Mohesh, and thereafter Sister Monica will make her own announcements, will make the final one. So this is all about the 2 days program. Lunch will be followed by this session. Everything is given. On behalf of the conference committee, I would request to be on the timeline. We are already behind 15-20 minutes, the timeline. So we finish and in Bangla, that is, enjoy Kolkata staying. It's the cultural capital of Kolkata. Enjoy staying here. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Mojumdar. We are almost at the close of the inaugural ceremony. I request all of you to definitely visit the exhibition which is on at the Bengal Gallery, and may I request everyone to stand for the national anthem.
Janagana mana adhinayaka jaya he Bharat bhagya vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Uttara Banga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Uchchal Jaladhi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage Tava Shubha Ashish Mange Gahe Tava Jaya Gatha Janagana Mangala Dayaka Jaya He Bharat Bhagya Vidhata Jaya He Jaya He Jaya He Jaya 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 He do, do.